Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Uganda claims it has the world's largest gold deposits. But do they really? We'll find the answer out more than likely in this video. So let's explore. Now, several members of the community made me aware of this, and I researched a little bit, and some of you have pointed me to this article, and which was extracted from Reuters, coming to us from mining.com. But we're going to look at another source as well, too, that comes from an op-ed that is quite interesting indeed. Kind of opens our eyes a little bit, but in reality, we probably could have found the answer just from within this article alone. If Reuters had done their homework, they may have known. But nonetheless, Uganda says exploration results show that it has 31 million tons of gold ore. So Uganda has said recent exploration results have shown it has gold ore deposits of about 31 million tons, and it wants to attract big investors to develop the sector hitherto dominated by small wildcat miners. Over the past 2 years, aerial exploration was done across the country, followed by geophysical and geochemical surveys and analyses. Solomon Muita, spokesperson for the Ministry of Energy and the Mineral Development, told Reuters. Muita said it estimated 320,158 tons of refined gold could be extracted from the 31 million tons of ore. Now, that is quite a claim. Indeed. Think about how much of the United States has in their deposits alone over the course of all these years, over 8,100 tons. And you add that to the other tons that the other nations have, and then all of the gold that's been ever mined. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Most of the deposits were discovered in Karamoja, a parched, sprawling area in the country's northeastern corner on the border with Kenya. Large reserves were also found in eastern, central, and western areas of the East African country. In fact, I think there's been some news that happened from there that I've covered in recent months. Muita said Wagagai, a Chinese company, had set up a mine in Busia in eastern Uganda and was expected to start production this year. Wagagai had invested $200 million, he said, and its mine will have a refining unit. President Yoweri Museveni's government has been seeking to ramp up investment in mining to develop resources like copper, iron ore, gold, cobalt, and phosphates. Parliament earlier this year enacted a new mining law that, once signed by the president, will pave way for the creation of a state mining company. Interesting. The company will compulsorily acquire a 15% stake in every mining operation, and investors will be required to sign a production sharing agreement with the government. Previously, investors were given mining production licenses on a first-come, first-served basis. So that's where that is. And it sounds kind of interesting on the surface, but these are pretty big numbers, I would say. Well, there's an op-ed over here on the Monitor, which is a Ugandan website. And this was just posted the day that I recorded this video. Our much-acclaimed huge gold discovery is mere fool's gold. Yes, indeed. Pretty intriguing here, and it's by a guest writer here, but it's quite interesting with a little bit of a backstory here. In April 1st of 1988, an Australian fruit farmer in the small town of Benleigh, Queensland, was reported to have unearthed a huge gold nugget. This was followed by global news reporting confirmation from the Australian government that indeed the nugget was gold. The fruit farmer, Boyce, has stated that the 10-pound nugget, dubbed Mortgage Buster, had been discovered while planting a citrus tree and that it was assayed. He claimed that the $70,000 Australian dollar worth nugget would help him to pay off his mortgage and a long sought after vacation. It later turned out that the huge gold nugget was merely an April Fool's joke that the farmer had planned to bring smiles to his people suffering from the region's seasonal floods and wildfires. Well, likely if somebody were to say that and then renege on it, we would be they wouldn't bring smiles. It'd be like disgust that you would lie about something like that. Fool's gold jokes are common in the mining industry. Fool's gold is a sparkling yet worthless mineral pyrite, which gold miners in the 19th century mistook for gold. The mineral pyrite has long been called fool's gold because of its metallic yellow copper-like crystals, tricking miners into thinking they had struck gold, although it's pretty easy to tell the difference when you hold it and when you chisel into it. It's a much different look to it and different feel and different texture and composition. However, in 2021, researchers at Western Australia's Curtin University discovered that invisible gold in small quantities, which cannot be detected by a microscope, can be captured from the crystals when they pyrite. Actually, I did cover that on this channel, actually, that kind of thing. By the way, I do post daily videos, and as part of those daily videos, I will find, or some of you from this community will send me science-related articles to precious metals. I like to cover those topics as well, and I think I'm fairly unique in covering those kind of subjects with regards to precious metals. Nonetheless, the article continues, it is therefore too early to dismiss or predict the economics of fool's gold in the early stages of this ongoing research. So that's a little caveat, little nuance. Now, yes, there can be gold inside of fool's gold, but there's also gold in the ocean waters across the world as well. So on June the 7th, President Museveni went off script in delivering his own version of a fool's gold economic buster gold discovery of 31 million tons. Only that was an early June Fool's Day joke. Since 2011, when the president imposed a moratorium on the export of unprocessed raw materials and minerals, he has been relentless in pushing for value addition in Uganda's sector, but paid little to understanding the drivers of resource development such as exploration reserves, data generation, economics, demand, supply, spot prices, technology, markets, and geopolitics. So here's statistics from the U.S. Geological Survey that indicates that 244,000 metric tons of gold, the equivalent of 268,400 tons of gold, has been discovered in the world to date, of which 187,000 metric tons, or 205,700 regular tons, has so far been produced, leaving a balance of 57,000 metric tons, or 62,700 tons, of known reserves still in the ground. This implies that Uganda's gold discoveries surpass global gold discoveries by 115.5 times. So more than likely, this thing is a farce. Did the president confuse ounces with tons? Or like the Australian farmer, he intentionally went off script to put a smile on the faces of his economically stressed citizens? There are two critical resource measurement classifications through which a country's resource endowment can be confirmed. One is a proven mineral reserve, and the other is a resource. In simple terms, a reserve is a known quantity of a resource established by drilling and sampling. The other is a resource, which is a broader and more general term than reserves, and includes identified materials that may be less characterized, possibly of lower grade and less certain to be economically recoverable. Majority of Uganda's gold falls under the latter. You cannot promote value addition if you fail to invest in generating the required data through research, feasibility studies, exploration, and competent person's resource valuation. frustrate and continue to lock out FDI with an ill-advised moratorium on export of unconfirmed mineral resources whose value addition credentials are unmodeled and unknown. What you are promoting is underdevelopment of the sector, mineral smuggling, and enrichment of your otherwise organized regional neighbors. The president's huge gold discovery announcement might have put a smile on the fool's gold, Congolese and Ugandan gold dealers in the suburban and soon-to-be victims for the Middle East and Europe, but certainly not the economically stressed citizens. There you go, and this is from this is a guest who is Mr. Don Buesig, which is a mineral and energy policy analyst. So very interesting indeed. Quite a blunder. This is obviously an op-ed piece, but fascinating indeed. And here he is himself giving this information. Fascinating indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. It looks like this thing was one big hoax. But, maybe we might be more likely to find a bunch of gold in the Grand Canyon than 31 million tons of gold ore in Uganda. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.